everybody? My name is Oliver Bass, joined alongside by none other than Pyro J, and this is the esports.net Rocket League show, a show all about Rocket League and why we love it so much. And today, we're talking more about some of, the esports side of Rocket League here, because we've got the Winter Major just around the corner. It's going to be in nowhere else but San Diego. And Pyro, we got to talk about the teams that are potentially going to be taking this entire thing home. We got our power rankings as well, some teams to watch here. So I'll let you do the honors. Kick this one off with what is our first team on the list.
All right, let's do it. Listen, we have two categories here, like you said, right? We have teams that pretty universally we're expecting to take these big W's, and then teams to watch out for. But we'll start with the top of the list. In no particular order is our top three, but I think we got to start from the NA side. Bastard the Pass, Gen G, Mobile Racing, Appjack, Noli, Chronic. They are the major winners for the fall split. So they are the returning champs. You would imagine they do all right this time around, but they are still making every single regional final in North America, just about every single one, minus the last. Aside from that, though, their dominance, their superiority in NA is unmatched, and you have to have them going in as a favorite this time.
100%. I mean, they have shown that they are capable of basically being perfect in almost everything. Again, on top of not only being able to get to 2 out of the 3 grand finals here, also on top of taking a regional win of the 3 regional events. They literally went on a 6 final spree. All 3 of the regionals in fall, they got to the grand finals at minimum. They then go to the finals in the major. That's 4 in a row. And then 2 more on top of that to make it 6 total grand finals appearances in any and all RLCS events that they were in. It's one of these things where they have shown themselves to be one of the best of the best. The question is can they do it again? Because while last time they were favorites going into Rotterdam, no one was really sure would they be able to keep up that consistency. And while they have mostly done that, they did fall off and not make the grand finals this time. Granted, it was because they faced off against FaZe, who ended up winning the entire event in the semifinals, but showing they do have a little bit of vulnerability. So there's question marks on whether or not they'll be able to have a run in their second major in a row, but that's due to team number 2. The second team I want to talk about on this list as we round out our NA portion of our top 3 is going to be FaZe. FaZe look like they have figured it all out. Pyro, this is a team that you and I both believed were going to be good. Pretty much everybody knew was going to be great, but after them not being able to even make it out of day 1 of the event in our very first regional event of winter, people started to have some questions. Questions, though, were very quickly answered. 2 regional wins in a row, back-to-back regional wins, put them basically at the top of NA. And now going into this winter major, a lot of people have them predicting that this is now the beginning of a streak that no one's going to stop.
FaZe Clan and consistency aren't really 2 things we're used to seeing. You remember last season, they won the first regional of the season and the last regional of the season. And that's about it in terms of regional wins. Now we have 2 wins in a row. Now we've been waiting for the time for First Killer to truly shine and have his moment. This seems like the best opportunity for FaZe Clan to do just that, being as well the narrative that they are the Titan Slayers. No one in North America could defeat Gen G in playoffs of a regional. FaZe Clan did that. So if they can take down Gen G, they are the previous major champions. Maybe they can take down just about everybody, but that's 2 out of our 3 teams that we've got to talk about in terms of teams that have the best chance at winning. Our third is Carmine Corps. Okay, yeah, we're both from North America. We had to shout out a team from EU, okay, or else, people would have our heads. But no, seriously, you talk about a reign of superiority in NA from Gen G, Bass, you got to talk about the same from Carmine Corps.
I mean, they look absolutely dominant. They have now set what is almost basically the record for the most amount of finals appearances in a row. Again, Gen G not able to find the grand finals in their third out of the 3 regional events here in the split. But Carmine Corps were, and they did it last time too. They continue to be one of the most impressive teams in terms of consistency and in terms of how much they are able to just push the most out of their competition and really look like they have almost nobody to stop them in all of EU. The only team that did stop them in all of EU was Moist Esports, who actually ran into them in the playoff bracket of our previous major in Rotterdam. But crazy thing, Moist Esports aren't at the major anymore. They didn't qualify this time, so as a result, people are thinking maybe their biggest test and their crutch, if you will, is out of the way. Granted, that team doesn't really exist either. Now Rise, which was pretty much the big star in that team, has actually gone over to Oxygen, who is actually going to be at the major. So technically, they still stand in their way. But as it stands right now, it feels like nobody has been able to. Karmine Corp, a favorite for a lot of people. A lot of people ranking them the #1 team on the planet right now. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. But at the same time, I think we have to give them their due credit. There are 3 teams that look to be able to take this entire trophy home. And that is going to be, again, FaZe Clan, Gen G, and Karmine Corp KC. 3 teams that are all incredibly capable, incredibly strong. But now we got to talk about some teams that are just as strong, but maybe aren't getting the same spotlight. These are teams to watch. These are a little bit of more our picks rather than what are the set in stone best on the planet right now. And we're going to kick this one off with you and I each talking about a team from NA or EU. Those are the 2 major regions as it stands right now. On top of that, there are other regions that are being invited, but we'll get to those in a couple of minutes here. For me, North America has one other titan that people need to pay attention to. It is Complexity. COL, one of the best teams to come out of actually not North America. 2 South American players from True Neutral moved up here last year after having a fantastic season in SAM, and then they bring in a third in CRR, some of the best talent that Europe has to offer. The team, now with Spanish comms due to 2 South American players and a Spanish player, have found themselves to be one of the most cohesive units in all of North America, taking down so many names and numbers. The only 2 teams which they have struggled against are Gen G and FaZe. They keep running to them in playoffs, and those are the only teams they have lost to so far in those playoff brackets. So, Complexity at this point, the big question for them, Pyro, is whether or not they're going to be able to get over that hump. If they can get over the best of the best of the best and the best that Rocket League has to offer, there's a pretty good shot Complexity could get some major upsets here in San Diego.
Listen, I'm glad one team that has a majority of South American players that are playing in NA could do it. RIP Furia. Complexity, we give you the best chances. Good luck. But I'm going back to the EU side for my pick between NA and EU for the best chance to take it. I'm looking at Team Liquid, the Young Guns, baby. All right, listen, I get it. At the beginning, maybe the fall major, people are saying they're too young. They're just starting out. Okay, whoop-la. Yeah, they made top 8. That's pretty good. This time around, they are a different beast, okay? You can call them young, but at this point, they're starting to look like veterans. The way they're playing in these regionals, great appearances this split, capping it off with a regional victory. I think Team Liquid looked the best that they ever had, and trust me, with how dangerous this roster continues to be, that's saying something. No matter who faces Team Liquid, they got to expect some damage to be done. That takes care of it for teams that we're looking outside of that top 3 that we expect, so Complexity and Liquid. But let's take a look at maybe some other regions. We need to broaden our perspective a little bit faster in the past. I'm going to throw it back to you to say, who else outside of NA and EU do you have your eyes on for this major?
So I'm going a little bit back to my roots here. For many of our fans at home who do not know, I actually came up in the APAC and OCE in particular scenes for Rocket League. I was a part of the RLCS OCE or Oceania region for a very long time. I've been working on their official broadcast as well as working on team streams there. And a team that has been on the rise since I basically started over 2 years ago is Ground Zero. Ground Zero, the most interesting story out of that region, and for a number of reasons. On top of the fact that they not only took 2 out of the 3 regional wins home, on top of only being able to barely be bested by KCP, a returning favorites into the OCE region, it's also that they have 3 players that are arguably the hottest free agents that we've seen over the last year, if not 2 years in OCE. That is none other than Kaka, who of Kaka's Minions was initially picked up by Ground Zero. He was the star player on that team far and away, but due to his 2 other teammates not necessarily being up to the same caliber, Ground Zero started to look elsewhere. The first pickup they find is Fiber, a longtime veteran of the region, one of those players where myself and so many others for a very long time were basically saying, when does this guy get a team of his caliber? Every single team he was on, he was the hard carry. He was the best player on the team, and it was so noticeable to anybody who was watching. And finally, he gets another player of his caliber in Kaka. 2 out of the 3 people on the roster, they're trying to figure out who's going to round it out. And oh, lo and behold, KCP, the Pioneers, drop their 3rd in Super Locky, arguably one of the best talents in the region. And the 3 of them all together go to Ground Zero and clean house. They have been the most impressive team coming out of OCE without a second thought. And with them being able to overtake Power's position, a team that almost made top 8 at the last LAN, Pyro, you have to imagine that OCE's got a new king. And at this point, Ground Zero, they truly do wear the crown. Now, they just got to prove it on an international stage.
Listen, they got the crown. They can try to bring that royalty over to the world stage. I want to see it. And I love that you bring that from your history and your background of covering the main broadcast for that region. Listen, if I could tout the community broadcast that I work on for the SSA, I would. They just don't have that major spot quite yet. So instead, I want to hone our eyes towards the South America region. How can you not? Okay, we do have a couple teams coming from there, of course, but my eyes are on the team that took everybody by surprise last major. That's Team Secret. At this point, the worst kept secret because they made waves in the fall major. Everyone was looking at the club from South America. Oh, yeah, the club's going to go far. No, Team Secret.
All that.
Top four last major. Who's to say they can't do it again? There's been so much shakeup in South America, but you know what? Team Secret, they have stuck together, and I think they only get stronger and stronger, better and better. They're coming off of a regional win here, as well as great regional appearances throughout this split. I feel like they got what it takes again. I want to see that South America surprise Bass from the past. That for me is my pick, Team Secret.
Listen, there's going to be a surprise no matter what, whether or not it's the teams from NAEU, maybe some of these underdeveloped regions, a lot of people like to say it, but honestly, they've been developing for so long, I don't know if we can call them that anymore. It's crazy to see the progress that RLCS has made as it has turned into truly a global esport, and well, that global esport meets up in San Diego at the beginning of next month. I believe it is April 8th and 9th, the dates for the weekend, for the LAN, and all of that action. There'll be a little bit going on beforehand, qualifiers to actually be able to play on LAN versus just playing in North America. So, make sure to tune into the Rocket League channel at the beginning of April, and make sure to tune back in next week, because that is all that we have got here for the esports.net Rocket League show. Once again, my name is Oliver Bass. That is Pyro J. And if you guys have other teams that you want to talk about, well, let us know in the comments if you maybe disagree. Otherwise, we will see you next time. Have a good one.